So what makes Wikipedia different than paper encyclopedias?
A lot of things. So there were paper encyclopedias before Wikipedia for a few hundred years. Wikipedia covers every topic. There's no limit to the size that Wikipedia can be. And in fact, you can look on Wikipedia. There was an art project some years ago. It was called Print Wikipedia, where an artist printed many volumes of Wikipedia if all the articles were arranged in an alphabetical encyclopedia. And they made a physical space that showed how big Wikipedia would have to be to print the whole thing out.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius.
And welcome to the Tiberius Show today, and I'm your host, Tiberius Boy. And as always, we're looking at various jobs and how they affect the world around us. Today's guest is going to be very interesting. You know, he has a very unique job. I mean, you guys mainly almost use Wikipedia every day, but how do you know that it's possible? I mean, how do you know that it's the true stuff? Well, today's guest is a professional Wikimedian. Well, I think I know what he does, but let's just talk to this guy and find out just to make sure. So, let me introduce our next guest, the one, the only, the amazing Lane Rasberry!
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Tiberius.
No problem. So, you're listed as a Wikimedian. Can you explain to our listeners exactly what that means?
I'm at a university. My title is Wikimedian. I take knowledge from the university and put it into Wikipedia. And I also get information out of Wikipedia for people at the university to check or research.
So, how did you first get started with editing Wikipedia?
Like so many other people, I was a student. I was studying. So I started editing Wikipedia when I was in college. I did it for fun and I kept it up for years. And somehow I started doing it professionally.
Huh. So, do you remember your very first article edit? Or, like, was it something serious or was it something silly?
Well, this is also not an uncommon story, but as a student, I went to Wikipedia and I was vandalizing it. I vandalized it repeatedly, actually. I was studying chemistry and I wanted to put misinformation and hoaxes into Wikipedia articles. So that's how I got started.
Huh. So, what made you decide that this was something that you wanted to keep doing, like, as a job?
Well, first I had to start taking Wikipedia seriously. And when I put misinformation into Wikipedia, as happens, other Wikipedians notice, because when a human puts content into Wikipedia, other humans fact check that information. And they caught me immediately and they told me, hey, Wikipedia is a serious thing. People are trying to share information here. Will you please follow the rules? And, I blew that off. I kept vandalizing Wikipedia a few more times. I got caught every time. But after a few humans contacted me, I realized, oh, people are serious about this. This is something special. People are volunteering their time to actually talk to me. And so I started behaving on Wikipedia. When I started doing it as a serious job, it was just funny times. There was times about 15 years ago, talking around 2010, where there actually weren't many people on any social media platform. I'm talking about YouTube or Facebook, Wikipedia included. And I was just minding my own business, editing Wikipedia. And would you believe this? Like everybody nowadays wants this to happen. Just doing my own thing in social media. And somebody just contacts me and offers me a job. Will you edit Wikipedia for us? So that's really how I got started. Yeah, huh? Strange, right? That's how it used to
So,
be.
did you ever get into a conflict with other editors? And if so, how'd you resolve it?
Hundreds of times. Hundreds of times. It still happens to this day. I try my best to be nice, but when you're in these online spaces, they're what you call a high conflict or high tension environment. There can be a lot of misunderstanding. You say one thing on the internet and people say, why are you personally attacking me? Of course, I'm not personally attacking you. I'm trying to share information. It's just miscommunication. But conflicts arise and you have to be nice. You have to be compassionate. You see the other person's point of view and you talk your way out of it. Mutual respect is the way you get out of conflict.
So how does it feel knowing that millions of people are reading the material that you help write?
It's a rush. You're hitting it right on the head. This is why I edit Wikipedia. So I could be editing my own personal website. If I did that, nobody would read it. But if I post content on Wikipedia, then I'm reaching the largest possible audience that I can get spending the time that I do editing things. So there's just one Wikipedia article for each given concept. Everybody in the world shares that article. Wikipedia is the encyclopedia that anyone can edit. So each article is a collaborative editing space. So you do have to negotiate with other editors and follow the rules for everything you share. But when you do share things, you go right at the top of internet search engines, artificial intelligence bots. They slurp up Wikipedia. They repeat it to other people. So it's very meaningful for me to share information on Wikipedia because it reaches a large audience. And I think a lot of Wikipedians would say the same thing.
So, Lane, can anyone really edit Wikipedia? Like even a 14-year-old like me?
There's a lot of people who start editing Wikipedia at 14. Like age 12 is the typical age when someone, if they're going to be a Wikipedia editor, a lot of people have the idea sometime around that age to like give it a go or figure Wikipedia out. I started, but before there was Wikipedia, I was trying to make my own website, share information online. I guess you have the same experience trying to put information out there, do it the best you can. And everyone's invited. So there are rules to Wikipedia. Everyone has to follow the rules. But actually, we have a lot of people who are in high school editing Wikipedia, and there's so much good information that they can share.
Well, can Wikipedia be a really big trusted source? Because I know a lot of teachers are saying nowadays, don't go to Wikipedia even though it's a good website.
The internet's a funny thing. Society hasn't really caught up with it. People say these things about Wikipedia, but my gosh, would you look at these other websites? Anyone can edit Wikipedia, but do you know who they let post content to YouTube? Do you know who they let post content to Facebook? There's so many other platforms where people are saying the craziest things, but Wikipedia at least has a fact-checking process, a quality control process, and a community governance process. If somebody complains about Wikipedia, we put that complaint out in the public and everybody in the world can see it and we try to work through it together. I'm not saying that Wikipedia is perfect, but I'm glad that it has a fact-checking process. We've been working for many years to make it better. There's all kinds of artificial intelligence tools that we use to save humans time and flag the things where we need human attention, save on some of that administrative labor. And we're certainly trying our best to present fact-checked information to the extent that we can.
Okay, so what happens if someone just types in something goofy or just completely wrong, like dinosaurs are still alive in Florida?
It can happen in two ways. So this audience is probably going to be most familiar with English language Wikipedia, but Wikipedia actually exists. It's well developed in about 100 languages. It exists in about 300 languages. About half of all of Wikipedia's editors, they edit in English language. So English language, it's got enough people to work very well and catch these kinds of things, typically within seconds, maybe at the latest in a minute. It's really uncommon for something like a dinosaur hoax to persist for even 1 minute in English Wikipedia, anywhere on Wikipedia. But if someone were to do this in a minority language, there's plenty of languages where there's only like 10 editors for the entire language. It's more experimental. It's more pilot. It's just an underserved language community in our new globalized infrastructure. So if somebody adds the dinosaurs to one of these underserved languages, I really can't say when it's going to be caught. Those languages are kind of used at your own risk. And that's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is right now.
Alright, well, what's the coolest random fact that you learned while editing Wikipedia?
It's not about the facts in Wikipedia, although there's plenty of people who share weird Wikipedia articles, strange Wikipedia articles. But the most unusual thing that I've learned about Wikipedia is how online etiquette works and how online relationships work. So when you edit these kinds of things, how do other people respond? How do people interact with each other? How can you be polite across cultures when maybe you're having to use a translator to communicate with some people, or you're talking in your native language with the other person, it's not their native language, and you're communicating across cultures. Everything about Wikipedia is this huge sociological experiment. How do people collaborate in different places in the world to share information from different perspectives? And meeting people from other cultures who have different perspectives about things that I think I know, it's very interesting to see all those perspectives represented in Wikipedia, including knowledge pulled from other languages that I can't read natively, that I would never have access to unless it came to Wikipedia.
So do you have to know stuff about everything to be a Wikimedian, or do you just have to know how to find out the right info?
You're asking the right question. You don't have to know everything. You need to know how to get information. So 90% of Wikipedia editing, it actually has nothing to do with Wikipedia. It has to do with doing your own research, going to a library, talking to a subject matter expert and getting referrals to information, having sources to cite. So Wikipedia is not a summary of things that people pull out of their heads. It's a summary of knowledge that people pull out of reliable sources. And when you bring that information into Wikipedia, the quality control mechanism is you bring a statement, you have to have a source from which it came. You have to cite your source. So we're not trying to get information from experts in Wikipedia. We're trying to get information from the best sources that anyone can find that any editor cites and summarizes and presents in Wikipedia.
So, Lane, what's the
Yes.
hardest part about editing Wikipedia professionally?
I've mentioned this a few times already, but these social interactions in Wikipedia, civility, being nice to people. So there's a lot of people when they first come to Wikipedia, and this is a natural response. They feel like they're getting into arguments. They feel like they're being attacked. They feel unsafe. And it's kind of a strange phenomenon that when you share a fact on the internet and someone says, I want to fact check you, most people are not accustomed to having someone challenge them or second guess them and say, why don't you trust me? And it's not that Wikipedia editors don't trust the human. It's just that we routinely fact check every bit of information that comes in. And if you're not accustomed to people calling you out and saying, let me fact check you, and that's not a natural experience for most people's lives. When that happens in Wikipedia, it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And when you have tense information, something where, say, 5 different people have 5 different perspectives, and you're trying to sort out how can Wikipedia represent all these perspectives? How do we evaluate these sources and make sure which ones are reliable, which ones are more mainstream, which ones are fringe? If they're fringe, do we still want to include them as a minority in perspective? Or is this too fringe even for Wikipedia? We don't want to share this. Perhaps it's on the edge of misinformation. Having these negotiations, it takes practice and experience. And I would say that the social interactions are the hardest part of editing Wikipedia.
So if Wikipedia had a bloopers section, what funny mistake would you nominate?
Gosh, I'm not sure I'd call this a mistake, but we have perennial bad editors, people who come to Wikipedia and do the same kind of vandalism over and over again. And this isn't exactly a blooper. And some of it, I feel, I don't know what to say about these people, but maybe very strong opinions about their favorite pop star. And they edit Wikipedia for years, trying to include some fringe perspective in this. Maybe it's funny, maybe it's kind of silly. I don't know what to say, but we're always on the lookout for anyone who gets advice from other editors, won't listen to it, and unilaterally says, I'm going to keep trying to make the same edit for many years, and eventually that will somehow persuade people.
So if a kid listening today really wanted to become a Wikimedian like you, what advice would you give them?
2 things. Go to a library. Books are still relevant, so most information is not on the internet. I know the day is going to come when most knowledge is accessible digitally, but there's still so much information that you can only get from books, and I recommend that anyone physically go to any library to which you have access, learn how to use a library, get accustomed to reading paper books, because we're just not at the time where you can read everything digitally. It's fine to get accustomed to digital information as well. You should be familiar with that. But after you're accustomed with using all kinds of library services, the second skill that I would recommend is get accustomed to using a range of different websites. Have social interactions with them and start to think about your personal identity and your personal safety. How much information about yourself do you want to be online? What kinds of interactions do you want to have with strangers? And how comfortable are you with having conversations with strangers in different platforms? If you have conversations with strangers, do you want all your conversations to be in public? that's the way Wikipedia works? Or are you comfortable exchanging emails or even getting on video chat or phone chat with people? You need to know a lot about your social boundaries if you're going to be not just on Wikipedia, but on any of these social media platforms. And I think it's really good to talk with anyone who's already into social media and ask them, what are their boundaries? How did you set your boundaries? And think about that for years. It's not a decision that anyone can make quickly. I think it's a ponderous decision, and it takes a few years to come to conclusions about what an individual would actually want for that.
Well, here seems like a good time to take a quick commercial break. Let's hear a word from our sponsors.
So you want to make an ad for your company, right?
Yeah, Tiberius, you want to help me?
Okay, so what's the name of the company?
PPWND.
PP what?
Professional Pressure Washing and Detailing.
So you like clean driveways?
Yeah, like that. We pressure wash commercial buildings and semi-truck and trailers.
So how would someone get a hold of you?
They can visit my site at ppwnd.com or call me at 407-900-7793.
So I just tell them to call you at 407-900-7793 or visit ppwnd.com?
Yeah, Tiberius, you got it.
Cut, that's a wrap. Just use that.
Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun Range. Great customer service, and firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
And we're back here with professional editor of Wikipedia, Lane Rasberry. So, Lane, what skills does a kid need to develop if they want to be a Wikimedian?
Library and social skills, those are important. Other skills that someone should have. Group organization. So besides just social skills and one-on-one, know how to organize small groups, have discussions. If you have a conflict or editorial dispute in Wikipedia, you want to be able to frame a conversation, do goal setting, have a limit to the conversation so that it just doesn't go on forever. You have a cap on how much time and attention and labor you're going to spend on a conversation, and know how to appoint somebody else to a leadership role, that if you're in a dispute with someone or having to make a decision, that somebody outside, a third party, is able to close the conversation, mediate any conflicts that happen, and make a decision on how you go forward. So sometimes you're the executive and leader in Wikipedia, and sometimes you defer those decisions to a third party. And this happens over and over again. It applies to Wikipedia, and I would say this applies to any kind of small group project that somebody might do.
So what makes Wikipedia different than paper encyclopedias?
A lot of things. So there were paper encyclopedias before Wikipedia for a few hundred years. Wikipedia covers every topic. There's no limit to the size that Wikipedia can be. And in fact, you can look on Wikipedia. There was an art project some years ago. It was called Print Wikipedia, where an artist printed many volumes of Wikipedia. If all the articles were arranged in an alphabetical encyclopedia. And they made a physical space that showed how big Wikipedia would have to be to print the whole thing out. So it's not possible for a human to read every Wikipedia article that's ever been published. And of course, Wikipedia articles, they're changing all the time. They're being revised, they're being updated. No human can keep up with this. The old encyclopedias from a generation before, they took up a bookshelf, but it's not like taking up a building, which is what Wikipedia does. So the size definitely matters. Some other key points when you talk about the lack of size limitation in Wikipedia: you can be globalized, you can include minority perspectives, you can try to be complete, like try to cover every topic that's mentioned in multiple newspapers and magazines, go into cultures, go outside of one language and pull in local knowledge from other places. And you can also use multimedia in a way that traditional paper encyclopedias didn't do. Wikipedia is connected to a media repository for images and something called Wikidata, which is sharing general reference data to complement Wikipedia as a prose text encyclopedia.
So what's the most misunderstood part about your job that people just don't get?
Two things. So what people often come to me and say is that Wikipedia must be low quality because anyone can edit it. People misunderstand that Wikipedia doesn't have a fact-checking process. And they put it down. And I think that's unfair because since day one of Wikipedia, it's had a fact-checking process. In the first year of Wikipedia, and we're talking about 2001, the fact-checking process got very good in that first year. And we've been using much the same fact-checking process ever since then. So I don't think it's fair that people criticize Wikipedia for not having quality information. I think that we have the best fact-checked information of any journal reference source in the world, certainly on the internet. The second thing that people say, and this is a misunderstanding, and they say exactly the opposite thing, that Wikipedia's fact-checking process is too strict or too good. And the people who say that are the people who come to Wikipedia, they share information, they don't cite their sources, and then immediately we delete whatever they put. And they say, look at me, I'm an expert, I'm a university researcher, I'm a doctor, I've been working in my field my whole life, and because of that, you should let me put whatever I want in Wikipedia, and I don't need to cite my sources. And these people say that Wikipedia is unfair, that the quality control standards are too high because we're telling them they got to cite a source. And they're just misunderstanding that nobody knows who you are on the internet. We only know what sources you cite. That's how we do the fact checking.
Mm-hmm. So what's the best advice you've ever been given, and who gave it to you?
What, about Wikipedia or in general?
In general.
Oh, gosh. People told me not to edit Wikipedia. That comes to mind. And I wonder if it had been good advice if I never started this. I know I have a lot of fun editing Wikipedia. It's ups and downs. It's a lot of stress sometimes. Best advice. Go to the library. I don't think anything has changed my life so much as having access to public libraries. When I was a teenager, I lived in a small town in Texas, in a rural area. Farming community. I had to ride my bicycle a long way to the library, and it was difficult for me to access. When I got to college, my university had a library. I spent a lot of time there. I had a professor who encouraged me to spend time in the children's literature section of the library. And every time I took a science class, or actually any kind of college class, I found the children's version of it, the version for teenagers or high schoolers. And I read that because actually I wasn't prepared for university and I wasn't ready to read college textbooks. But reading children's literature, it got me oriented to a lot of the things that I wanted to learn. And actually children's literature, it's great summaries of a lot of topics. If anyone wants to cite children's general reference resources in Wikipedia that are fact-checked, I would say that's A-okay and fine to do.
Huh. So what's the weirdest article that you've ever seen someone post to Wikipedia that was true and stayed?
Weirdest article. So you can look up lists of strange articles in Wikipedia. People have identified so many of these. Weird articles that have listed and stayed. Gosh, you're putting me on the spot to think about these. And I don't even know if this is funny. I'm going to talk about a disaster. There was a disaster where a lot of people were seriously injured because there was a huge molasses explosion where a flood of molasses went through a town from a molasses factory. And, it's very serious. And cities should protect people from molasses floods because it's no joke if your house gets knocked down by a flood of molasses.
Yeah, it's very big.
It's very sad, yes.
So why would a kid listening today want to grow up and do your job?
Every institution that is a knowledge center, spreading information. So that can include research institutes, that it can include cultural institutes like a library or an archive, a museum, universities certainly, and also government agencies that have a civil obligation to tell people, how are you running the city? How are you running the state? How are you running the country? So all of these kinds of organizations, they have an obligation and a duty, and it's within the scope of their work to do public communication. And Wikipedia is a legitimate and effective way to achieve this. When you edit Wikipedia, you're contributing to a nonprofit project that has an open copyright practice. So if people put information in Wikipedia, it's not just for Wikipedia. It can also circulate freely around the internet. Anyone from the public can take information off Wikipedia and reuse it as they like. And also historically, and I can't promise it's always going to be this way, but Wikipedia's intermingled well with all the other internet platforms. So all the social media platforms, people like to take information from Wikipedia there. The search engines present Wikipedia information. And artificial intelligence bots, they take whatever's in Wikipedia and they repeat it too. So anyone working for an organization where you want to communicate information to the public, I think you should have an opinion about Wikipedia, and I would recommend any young person to consider Wikipedia over the alternatives. The alternatives being like trying to get published in a newspaper, which is good, but it's just not going to be as complete information. Or contributing to some of the commercial internet platforms where you can put information there, but they kind of lock their readers in and don't let it circulate freely around the internet to the extent that Wikipedia is. I just like the values and ethics of Wikipedia, and I want it to be alongside the other information sources.
Well, on that note, let's take a quick break to pay some bills.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of their dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering to trophies and awards. The cool part about Custom Designs is they can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373 and tell them that
Tiberius
sent you.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
And we're back here with Lane Rasberry, one of the guys that edit Wikipedia. So if you were to go back in time and edit something in history in real life, what would be that one thing that you would fix?
Oh gosh, I'm concerned with environmental change, impact of industry on the environment, and I wish that we had better documentation of endangered and extinct species, for sure. I wish that we had concepts of conservation throughout history, earlier in history, could have saved some species that went extinct for human neglect and human misunderstanding that it is possible to harm the environment and eliminate ecological diversity. So pictures in Wikipedia are very important to me. Information about all kinds of wildlife, plants, and animals. I want that well documented in Wikipedia. Wiki species, complementary project, Wikidata, keeping different population data about species in there. Definitely that would be my historical wish.
Well, do you think AI has a positive role in your industry at all, or are you worried it might take over parts of a job and cost people a living?
It's disruptive. So I would like to think that only good things can come from AI. And at the University of Virginia, where I am, that's where I'm Wikipedian, I'm in the School of Data Science. I'm an AI researcher myself. So that's what I'm doing. And I have mixed feelings about these things. So I believe in it. I've been there for years. I'm doing the best I can to combine Wikipedia and artificial intelligence. So what I like about artificial intelligence is it gives a lot of power to the common man to access information, to do fact checking for Wikipedia. It saves labor. It helps us move information across languages. And there's a lot of administrative tasks in Wikipedia that are easily automated and that people want to be automated. Something that I'm afraid of with artificial intelligence is that it's actually not in control of typical people. I feel like there's a few people, very rich people on the order of billionaires, who have the control over artificial intelligence. And frankly, I don't trust any of them. I don't trust their democratic process. I don't trust that any of the big AI companies or any of the big tech companies, I don't think they pay their fair taxes. I think they manipulate the government, every government, like every country's government, a lot more than I'm comfortable with. I don't feel like they're democratic with their own employees at all the big tech companies. and I don't trust what they're doing for the future. I don't trust what they did before artificial intelligence, and I certainly don't trust them with this newfound power. So I'm anxious about doing everything I can to lift up everyday people, to express themselves and be heard in governance and society. And I really would like the government to represent what's best for the majority of people in a democratic process. And I like AI to the extent that it promotes democracy and civility and good citizenship.
So what's the biggest mistake that you've ever made, and how did it change you as a person?
Biggest mistake that I ever made? Gosh, that's also pretty heavy. Let me see. I guess not really my fault, but it was in strange times. Like I told you earlier, I grew up in a farming community in rural Texas, and I tried to find my way there. And there's a lot of people whose lives are influenced by technology. And my family, they worked with livestock and animals to some extent. I'm a technology worker, very different lifestyle. And I think that there's a lot of young people who their parents might do one thing, and then they get on the internet and they see other ways to live. They might want to be part of a different culture. They might want to have a different career path than could be recommended to them. And the people in my community, they did the best they could. It's just that the world in many places is changing very quickly. And me living in a small town was not a fit for me. And I tried to make it work for me for many years. And as soon as I did more to follow my dreams, go to a city, work more with technology, my life got better. But I still think about all the troubles that I had when I was trying to live for other people before I knew that I wanted to do that. And I'd also caution a lot of people that if you're looking on the internet and thinking you want an internet job, you want to move to a city, it can also be dangerous. So I'm not going to say that I was talented or smart or skilled. I watched a lot of other rural people move to the city, and things didn't work out so well for them. So I encourage everyone to be safe with what you find on the internet and what you do with your career and your life and your studies and your lifestyle. But as for me, one kind of life didn't suit me, and working with technology suits me very well.
So do you play video games? And if so, what's your favorite one?
You're gonna make me admit this? Okay. I play Civ 6 sometimes. I played the Civilization series. I've been playing it for a while. I don't think I've ever finished a game. I think I lose every single game that I've ever played. I usually stop it before I get very far at all. But if I play a video game, then yes, I have Steam on my computer, and sometimes I play Civ.
Okay.
Civilization,
okay.
we're talking about Civilization, yes.
So what's the best place for teens to follow you online? Like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram?
Don't follow me. I'm on all these places. If you want to say hello to me, you can certainly say hello to me on Wikipedia. I'm Blue Raspberry. But there's also Wikipedia youth groups. So if you want to talk to me, you can talk to me. But you can also talk to your friends about Wikipedia. And you don't need to talk to a Wikipedian to come to understand Wikipedia. So you and your friends can have coffee, have, whatever it is that you do together, and look at Wikipedia articles together, look at the references. You should do homework with your friends if you're a teenager in school. And Wikipedia necessarily is going to be part of your background research. I recommend Wikipedia as an entry point for researching all kinds of topics. You go to a Wikipedia article, you check out the references, see what information is already being cited, maybe read an actual scientific paper if it's relevant. You don't need an expert Wikipedian to get into Wikipedia. It's really something that you can figure out with people in your own friend group.
Well, thank you, Lane, for being my special guest. Can you stick around for Math Corners?
I'm so excited for Math Corner. Yes, I saw it in your other episodes. Let's do it. Let's do some math.
Aw, Dad, my computer's slow again and I can't play my games.
Call Your Computer Solutions today, and we will scan for viruses and clean that computer up remotely.
and make it fast again. Our phone number is 407-826-0810.
Thanks, Dad. My computer's fast again. Now I can do my homework. Thanks for calling Your Computer Solutions at 407-826-0810.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
And now it's time for Math Corners. Thank you so much, Lane, for helping us out with Math Corners. And this week, we're going to do our multi-separate problems, as we always do. And my dad is always good at finding problems for me to solve. And today, we are going to talk about increased traffic on Wikipedia. Yep, that's right. I think Lane might be good at this one. So, Tom works with Wikipedia and records how many people visit different articles. So let's say a famous musician just announced a surprise album. Normally their Wikipedia page gets 40,000 views a day. On the announcement day, day 1, views jump to 200,000. And for the next 6 days, days 2 through 7, the page averages about 60,000 views per day. So how many total views did the page get during the 7-day week? And on day 1, how many times the baseline did the views increase?
Okay, is day 1 40,000 or day 1 is 200,000? The
Day
release
1
date or
was
the day before?
200,000. Baseline was 40,000.
Okay, let's see. So we have 6 days of 60,000. So that's 360, 360,000 plus 200,000 for the first day when we got the rush of people wanting to know about this new album. So we have 560,000 for the week. I think that's one of the answers. That you asked that, right?
Yes, that is one of them.
Yes.
The
Okay.
other question was, how many times better was day 1 than baseline?
Okay. And so day 1 was 200,000, and base was 40,000. So 200 divided by 40 is 5. So 5-fold increase in traffic when the album released, and that's actually pretty typical for Wikipedia.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's actually that's the right answer. There you go. So, Lane, when you're watching the trends, do celebrities really make a big difference to views?
In so many different ways. So some of the there's a Wikipedia newspaper. It's called the Signpost, and one of the most popular recurring columns in the Signpost is the traffic report. And what we see in the traffic report is popular movies, celebrity news, music, pop stars, and sports news. Those are consistently the most popular events in Wikipedia. So there's plenty of things that are popular, like continually, like any given day. But when a movie comes out, when a pop star album comes out, it spikes for a day. It kind of tapers off during the week. Yeah, and it changes every week, which is why that's an exciting thing to read about. What are the top 10 most popular Wikipedia articles in a given week? Because it always changes. And it's also a multicultural experience. So it's not just Hollywood movies, it's Bollywood movies. What's the popular thing in India? Sports in Brazil, celebrities in Europe. So you get to see global popularity, not just popularity for if you're an American in the United States like we are. It's always surprising to me what's globally popular.
Oh, yeah. So my teacher said that I would use math every single day. How do you use math with your work?
I am continually calculating page view metrics, just like we just did, because I want to make sure that if there is a Wikipedia article that is high traffic but low quality, that somehow we get more editors to come improve that Wikipedia article. So somebody's got to detect trends in Wikipedia and make sure that as things change, can we find a way to detect and deploy editors to the place where they'll have the most impact for their time. So continually looking at page views. I do data visualizations all the time. Like what categories of articles are popular? How many articles do we need to edit to achieve a certain goal? It never ends. Math every day, for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Lane, for your help with Math Corners.
Sure. Thanks for doing math with me.
And now it's time for the Heart of a Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the heart of a lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. This week, we're going to talk about leadership. For me, I think leadership is the act of loving what is good, having self-control, and being disciplined. The qualities of leadership are providing guidance and direction, organization, and being a positive influence on others. So this week, we were shooting some footage during broadcasting class. So one of the mics just stopped working randomly, as one does, 2 minutes before shooting. So Jalen stayed calm and grabbed a backup mic and ran through a quick sound check, taught Maya how to hold the new mic and got out of the shot. He didn't boss anyone around, he just jumped in, explained what needed to happen, and just kept going. I mean, the shots went perfectly, no one ever knew anything went wrong. So that's the kind of leadership that I wanted to bring every single time I step into the studio. So, thanks! So, Lane, do you have an example of leadership that you saw this week?
Well, what I get out of the story that you just told is that sometimes, even if somebody might be able to assert themselves in a situation, you have to defer leadership to someone else. It's always an exchange between leadership and obedience. Sometimes you're the leader, sometimes you need to obey. And same thing happens in Wikipedia. There's sometimes when there's a group of people talking about things, but somebody has to make a decision in the end. And sometimes it's your turn to be the leader and close out a conversation and make a decision. But most of the times, the way it works in Wikipedia and the way it works in most places in life, if you have a group of people, not everyone can be a leader. Most people need to be good participants and respect the decision and obey. It works in Wikipedia. I think it works in the situation that you talked about, and that's just the way it works in society.
Well, we should always try to be lion strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
Yes. Be lion strong.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Lane Rasberry for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking to you today. I think we learned a lot about your work as a professional editor of Wikipedia.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Tiberius. And Wikipedia is the encyclopedia that anyone can edit. You also can edit Wikipedia. If you think it suits you, make an account and give editing a try.
Well, also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show, and I would like to thank WWPR 1490 AM, Canton 98, Soul Radio 24/7, EasyWay TV, and all the other stations that air my show. And please visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. So, Lane, are you subscribed yet?
I'm subscribed, yes. It's pretty cool.
Okay, well this week, Mr. Darren735 says, amazing, Dylan. And Karen Falcon says, that was very informative. That was awesome. Well, thank you so much, Karen, for your support. And be sure to leave me a comment on my videos, and I might even mention yours at the end of the show. And also, be sure to listen to us next week on The Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius